Hello, listeners. Hi, my name is Madhavi, and I'm so happy to have you on UppTalk. You have come to the right place if you want to learn about IT and do really cool things with your hands. We are not just another IT company when I say UppTalk. Think of us as your learning partner dedicated to helping you reach your full potential. We have top notch hands on courses to help you build your business, whether you're new to technology or want to move up in your current job. Let's look around this as our first step towards learning.
Today we will talk about tasks. As you guys know, tasks are used to automate the process. Task is nothing. As part of the application onboarding, you have seen whenever we need to import any identities, we are going to run account aggregation task. If you need to import any entitlements, in that scenario, we are going to run group aggregation task. If you need to refresh any identity, all identity, in that scenario, we are going to execute refresh identity cube task. Perform maintenance task. It will be running in the background and it's responsible for all background activities. Usually tasks are used to automate all the process. We won't be able to do it on manually each and every time. That is the reason we are going to trigger schedule all the tasks to automate the process. Which usually will do it to aggregate identities. Or else I'll mention aggregate data. Or if you want to maintain any information, maintain the data. And I can mention background activity. For everything, task is responsible. If you're going to trigger any certification, in that scenario, you have to trigger the backend task has to be executed. If you are going to submit any access request, some in the backend, some tasks will be executed. It is responsible for all kind of activity in the background. We will learn what type of task we have, how we can automate, how we can schedule, how we can monitor each and everything we will discuss today. Log in into SailPoint. If you want to create any new task, go to Setup Task. From here, you can create all the new tasks if you want. These are the default tasks. Usually we call them as. These are the category. These many categories we have like account aggregation, account group aggregation, generic task identity scoring and system. These are the category. Whenever you are going to create any new task related to account aggregation, it will be placed inside this. If you are going to create any group aggregation, it will be placed inside this. If it is related to identities, then it will comes under this. For identities, we have these many different tasks. Like if you're going to create any generic task based on the requirement, it will comes under this. For identities, we have these many default tasks. Like if you're going to create any generic task based on the requirement, it will come under this. You can categorize. For identities, we have these many different tasks like refresh, identity cube. If you're going to execute, then it will execute. I will refresh all the identity related information. Refresh risk score. If I'm going to execute this task, execute in the background. It will refresh all the risk code. It will refresh all the risk. These are the things. For scoring, also we have a separate task to refresh application score, refresh role scorecard. The same way for system maintenance, we have these many tasks. Let's talk about the new task. 1. Account aggregation, account group aggregation. You know, right? Let me explain one more time. Account aggregation task. It scan all the application configured in your system. Whatever application you are going to select over here, the phone aggregation, the application over, whatever you are going to select, Eric, it's the task, is going to scan the application. And it will discover all the user details. If it is a group aggregation, then it will discover all the entertainment related details from that particular application. Whatever application you are going to select it over here, and optionally it will correlate as well. If you have any correlation rule mentioned in the application or from here also, you can use this option. Correlate manually, correlate it maintain, correlate new account. You can select based on the requirement if you are going to execute this task. The same way we have group aggregation, we have activity alert aggregation. If there is any alert you have configured in your system and the moment there is any alert is there, then the moment you are going to execute this alert processor, it will execute. But in real-time project, we are not going to use these types of tasks. Account aggregation, account group aggregation. We are going to export the data from one environment to another environment. In that scenario, we will export the task. We will use the task, but not this one. We have a separate task which is very easy to use. Not this one, data export task. As part of the plugin, I'll explain what is the task name. If you are going to use this one, you can export identities, export accounts, export certifications. Only you are allowed to export 3 objects. But we have another task. As part of the plugin, we can import into SailPoint. Using that task, you can export all the objects, not only identities, account certification. We will learn there. Apart from that, the important one is identity refresh. Let's say if you are going to execute refresh identity cube, it will refresh all the identity. It will take a minute as of now in my system. I have 50 identities. It won't take much time. It will take some 1 to 2 minutes. Let's say in your project you have 1 lakh identities and you want to trigger refresh identity. You want to refresh identities only for 10 identities. In that scenario, what will you do? In your project, you have 1 lakh identities. You need to refresh the task. Particularly, you need to refresh only 10 or 15 identities. You need to refresh. In that scenario, what will you do? The moment you are going to execute this refresh identity cube, it will take hours and hours to get it complete. But you want to check immediately and you are going to refresh only for 10 identities particularly. In that scenario, if you are going to execute this refresh identity cube, it will perform a full refresh of all the identities. But we would like to execute only for particular identity, particularly 10, 15, or only 1. We can have the filter. From here, we can add the filter or else you don't want to touch the task. In that scenario, you can create some custom task from the backend and in that you can add the filter. We will learn those things. Let me cover this one as well. From here, I can mention something like using some attribute called name equal. Here I can mention that identity name. Like username, you are going to capture the data attribute value from here. Added reading. I'm not sure it's been long. Let me try. something like this name double equal the username. If I'm going to refresh this, then it will refresh only one identity. Let me try. It will examine only one identity. It won't examine all identities. This is Adam Kennedy. I haven't done the identity mapping for this username. I have done it for first name, last name, each and everything, but I haven't done it for username. From where this Adam Kennedy has been pitched as part of the application onboarding, we have set that identity attribute right. Identity attribute, display attribute from there. You can define the attribute from there. It could be employee ID. It could be full name. It could be first name. It's up to the requirement. It's based on the requirement. Whatever value I'm going to mention over there, it will be fixed here and you have to copy from here only. That's the reason I said based on the attribute. Whatever attribute you are going to utilize, it will be come here from here. You can use if you are going to refresh particularly. Just now we have done it for only one identity. If there is a requirement to execute 3 identities in that scenario, you are going to use the pipeline. The same pipeline you are going to add. Second identity I'm going to add over here. Instead of Adam Kennedy, all eyes for. Now I'm going to execute this one. See when execute, it will examine only 2 identities, not entire identities. And it will check the policy violations from where I can define these things. Only I need to check the policy. Only I need to execute the events. Inside the refresh IdentityIQ class, you can open the refresh IdentityIQ class. And here I have checked refresh identity attribute, refresh manager status, refresh assign detected roles, and promote additional entitlement. And check active policy. Here I have mentioned that is the reason it has checked all the policies. It will refresh all identity risks for God as well. Based on this checkbox, you can enable disability and number of things. As you know, this task is responsible for all identities. I don't want to create any mess. In that scenario, if I want to create new task, is it possible to do? It won't execute. It will throw some error. Usually, whenever there is a requirement to create any custom task or custom rule, custom workflow, it's quite simple. No need to think. We need to get from the stack. Whatever, it's already present. We are going to copy the data and we are going to make changes. That's what I have done. And I have noticed. I can say 99% developers, that's what they are going to do. They are not going to create anything from the scratch. They will try to find some object, some rules, some workflow. It could be Compass because it could be from their project itself. They will try to find something from there. They will be. Same way for refresh IdentityIQ. I'm going to create one custom task. I thought of covering this. First of all, no issue. I'll cover later. Let me create one custom task from the back and go to debug page. If I'm going to tie a task, I'm able to see 3 tasks. Object is there. Task definition, task results, task schedule. Do you know the difference between these 3? Whatever task we are going to create, it will be placed under the task definition. Once you have executed the task, results will be there, right? Those output will store under this task, result object. And task schedule means you have created an object. It's going to be, you are going to schedule on it. You are going to schedule to execute on a daily basis. Those time frequency, each and everything, it will be stored under this task. If you want to schedule something, if you want to change the timing, execution time, execution frequency, you can select this task. Let me select task definition. Go to refresh identity task, refresh identity queue. This is the task I need to create again, this particular identities. In that scenario, what I'll do, I'll try to copy. Just click on here. Click new replace here. As you guys know, we need to remove all ID values. First of all, if you forgot to remove this ID value, what it will do? It will update the same existing task. It won't create a new task. You have to remove all ID value. Now I'm going to change the task name, refresh identity queue, single identity. Why ask this question? Because if you are going, you got some error, you got some issue in the production. Usually what you'll do, you are going to replicate the same in lower environment. If you're going to refresh the task and it will take 1 hour, then it's very difficult to handle. In that scenario, you have to create some custom task and you can execute for single identity as well. That is the purpose. Refresh identity queue, single identity result, action delete. No need to worry about these things. Just we have changed the name and I'm going to remove this one as well. Perform a description. I'm going to change perform a full refresh for single identity. This I mean single identities. If you want to keep this value like true and false, is there right? True means the box has been checked and false means the box has not been checked. Inside the map value, I'm going to replace. Instead of false, I'm going to place as empty. No. I don't want to place any value. I don't want to. True also. Just to have removed all the values, true and false value. I have removed. True means the box has been checked. False means it's not checked. Let me save now. Let me save now. Go to task. Here we have created a refresh identity cube per single identity. It's related to identity. It will be placed over here. Are you able to see refresh identity cube single identity task? It's been created. The description, whatever we changes, it's been updated over here. Open the task. If you want, you can place the attribute always name double equal. Something like this and you can save the task. Whenever there is a requirement they want to refresh for particular identities, they can open the particular task, SailPoint, admin or developer, and they can execute. That's the purpose of having create some custom task. Let's talk about perform maintenance. I'll give you an example scenario. As you know, perform maintenance task is responsible. Let me open the task. This perform maintenance task is responsible to prune all identity snapshot to prune the task results. It will check the certification. It will perform other background maintenance tasks. Let's say access requests, your certification or you are going to trigger any policy activities, or any aggregation is going to happen, or any refresh is going to happen for each and everything. Perform maintenance is the base task. If it is get hung or anything, what will you do? That's first question. Second, the application, client, is saying that the perform maintenance task is getting hung each and every day. We won't be able to terminate and rerun again. It's affecting the certification campaign happening. They want to create some custom tasks only to particular certification items selected. Is it possible to do? This perform maintenance task is responsible for all kinds of activities. When it's all kind of it will get hung. It won't get complete. Sometimes it has to be complete, which in each and every 5 minutes it has to be complete. The perform maintenance task is in hung state for 24 hours. No one has checked. In that scenario, certification would come, won't get complete access. The first one get complete. Everything will be hung. In that scenario, client is saying you need to create some custom task. One lead select certification related item. Is it possible to do that? As I said, if we are going to trigger any certification, if they're going to submit any access request, let's say the perform maintenance task is in a hung state and you have submitted access request. It won't generate the work item. It won't go for the approval. It won't change the status, access request status. The same lead, you have to get some certification. You have defined some policy. It won't be able to check all policy. The perform maintenance task is responsible for all kind of activities in the backend. Usually in real-time project. Also, it will be scheduled to run on a 5-minute basis by execution frequency. The time frequency will be 5 minutes. The last execution 8:35, the next execution it's going to 8:40. This is the default one. We didn't define anything, but in real-time project already it will be 5 minutes. Come to my question. If you want to create some custom task related to the certification or any other things, you can create. Definitely they'll ask you to create in real-time project. Quite simple. You can create a number of custom tasks as per the requirement. No need to create from the scratch. Just try to find the appropriate task and you can do the copy paste. You can make some changes. We didn't create this task. This is the default task. Comes with SailPoint feature. As part of the import process, you need .xl. We have imported this task as well, like perform maintenance, check expired work items, check sunset, request. These are things. It's your job to monitor all these kind of tasks, system tasks. Usually we'll call them as system tasks. As a SailPoint admin, you have to monitor. If the task is get hung, it couldn't perform anything. In that scenario, you are going to terminate this task and you are going to re-trigger it. Aaron Nicholas is the director. Someone has submitted access request for that. The access request has been provisioned, but the status has not been changed. Still, it's in the provisioning state. It's not completed. It should update something like completely. It didn't get complete because the perform maintenance task is in a hung state for a long time, long or like 6 or 7 hours. No one has checked. Once the perform maintenance task has been executed successfully and once it get completed, all this complete the task, access request status will get changed. If they want to create some custom task, then SailPoint admin won't create the task. It will pass to a SailPoint developer. They are the one who is going to create the custom task. As a SailPoint admin, you are going to monitor all kind of activities, all kind of tasks. As a SailPoint developer, you are going to create some custom tasks. That's the differentiation. We have these minute tasks need to be executed on a daily basis. Usually, I have noticed that the task will be executed at late night time. The task won't be executed on the daytime. Like 10 p.m. and at the late night they will start and 7 a.m., 8 a.m. before 8 a.m. The task or the tasks will be completed. The first thing to note. Set. Let's talk about this one. As I said, refresh identity maintenance. These are the things important. One, we have covered. If you want to policy scan, it's a common thing. If you want, you can execute and you will learn. It's not a big thing. The run rule and sequential task launches. Let me say you have some 50 application, 50 account aggregation will be there. 50 group aggregation will be there. Right? And for all 50, you won't be able to schedule on a daily basis. If you are going to schedule all 50 account aggregation, 50 group aggregation, in that scenario, 100 scheduled tasks will be created, but client won't prefer to have 100 scheduled tasks. They want to execute on a daily basis, but they don't want to create 100 scheduled tasks. Is it possible to do? We have 100 tasks because since we have 50 application, 50 account aggregation, 50 group aggregation, task is there. We would like to run on a daily basis because our people or some application team will update the feed, vital data each and every day. We want to aggregate on a daily basis, but we don't want to create all scheduled tasks. All 100 tasks should not be created as a scheduled one, but the requirement we need to create, we need to execute on a daily basis. Is it possible to do? No need to create any custom task in that scenario. In that scenario, what you can do, you can create sequential tasks. Open sequential task launcher. Here at the same time, you can add all account aggregation, group aggregation, any type of task you can add, but you can segregate. Something like one sequential task is responsible for account aggregation. In that scenario, I'll create one task saying sequential account aggregation. And I will add all account aggregation related tasks over here. Aggregate Prism. Let me add PeopleSoft account aggregation as well. I can add PeopleSoft account aggregation. I can add all account aggregation related to task over here and I can save. I have created one task called sequential task. If I'm going to execute this account aggregation, it will execute all 3 tasks in the backend. Let it complete. It will take 2 to 3 minutes. I have executed the sequential account aggregation task. It has some 3 account aggregation tasks. It will execute. Now the track account aggregation is running. Now PeopleSoft account aggregation is running. It's single shot. You can execute 3 tasks. The same way, as many as you want, you can add like 101, 50, it's up to you. The same way you can create group aggregation and you can you can execute. And now if you want to execute on a daily basis, then you can select this particular task and you can schedule this task. No need to schedule all 100. It will be execute the whole order. You have added the first task. Whatever you're going to add, it will be executed first in the sequential way. Based on that, you can plan. JDBC task will take more time and you don't want to execute in the initial time. At 10 p.m. you don't want to execute. You want to execute 3 p.m. Based on that, you can plan something. The sequential task order you can change. Inside that track account, aggregation is not getting completed. It's taking more time. In that scenario, you can open this. You can check from the task. The task has been executed at 7th of December, 8:46. 2 minutes back, the task has been executed. You can check the result from your task is the important functionality in SailPoint like task and certification. I can say from my experience, task certification policies. Based on the client requirement, they can decide. Let's talk about run rule task. Developer has created. There is a requirement for each and every entitlement. Whenever manager leaves the company, his line manager has to get added automatically for all the entitlement. You understand the requirement client is saying whenever entitlement owner is going to leave the company, his line manager will get added automatically in the as an entitlement. There is a requirement that a client pass to developer. They have built some rule. Using some loop if condition, there have been some rule and the rule need to be executed on a daily basis. Is it possible to do? In the run rule, you can add any rule like A, B, C, logger, test all objects. Let's say developer built this rule A, B, C, logger, test on it. And I want to execute now. I have merged that rule into this task and I'm going to execute now. Let's say ABC logger test rule 1, 2, 3. I'm going to execute now. C1 execute. It's been executed successfully, but there is no output from where we can check. It will get updated in the target system. If you want to check the logs, you can check. You understand, right? We can execute the rule with the help of task. If you want, you can check the logs. Go to logs. Here I have created a SailPoint. This is the timestamp 8:50:37. The test error and test 1 has been printed. You won't be able to execute the rule. If you want, you can open that rule and you can check. Go to rule. APC logger test. This is the rule which has been created by developers and it's been printing some logs statement like test error, test 1. It's been printed in the notepad file. How it's been printed? We have executed the rule with the help of task. Whenever there is a requirement to execute any kind of rule, you won't be able to execute the rule alone. In that scenario, task will pitch in and it will help. It will execute the rule. And if you want to schedule, you can schedule. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@therightuptalk.com.